Now, here to give us some hope behind the headlines is Ashley Cash. Yes, that is her real last name. Ashley is a resume writer, interview, and salary negotiation coach. Her clients have landed interviews and jobs at places like Google, Amazon, JP Morgan, Topgolf, and more. Hi, Ashley. Welcome. Thank you so much for being on the show here with me today.
Hey, thank you for having me.
All right, so we're going to be talking resumes because that is the foundation of your job search materials. It's also something that I think is frustrating to a lot of job seekers. How do I take my entire life history and put it into one page? Or is it 2 pages? Or is it 3 pages? Lots of questions, but you're the expert when it comes to this stuff. What are the questions you normally receive? What are they specifically looking for? And maybe some do's and
Yeah.
don'ts would be a great place to kick us off.
So let's talk a little bit about questions that come up consistently, things that resume questions that make people want to pull their hair out. And there's two questions. One's a really easy one that I get a lot, and that is, should my resume only be one page? And that is a simple answer. I'm going to set some people free here. 2 pages max. And I'll also put a little asterisk with that advice to say, y'all forget about the rules. Okay. Your resume, your career, your story, your way. When it comes to length, 2 pages max, because we all know everyone has a short attention span, get to the point, but I wouldn't lose sleep over it. And from my perspective as a hiring manager, Claire, you're going to agree with this, I know. You've never in your life seen a resume of someone who is qualified and accomplished, and you're like, I would call them for an interview, but darn it, that resume is 2 pages or three. Like, it becomes so insignificant when we focus on the big picture, which is what the reader looking for there, and can they easily find it so they want to pick up the phone and call you. So that's hopefully somebody's going to be set free from that prison tonight.
Yeah. Okay. That's very helpful. Do's and don'ts right off the bat. We got the page numbers. What else for sure somebody needs to be thinking about for their resume? And what are
Yes.
some pitfalls to avoid?
Yep. I joked about this on LinkedIn a little bit. So for us who've been working for a number of years, 10 years plus, it can feel very maybe intuitive or maybe intentional to want to create a resume that reads or feels like a career biography, right? Every job we've ever had, every task and responsibility we've ever held. And I say, especially to those of us who are a little bit more seasoned, and also those of us who are targeting high level roles, less is more, right? So a pitfall, a big don't, is to feel compelled or maybe have a security blanket of, I'm just going to ambush the reader with anything and everything, right? We want to be targeted, focused, specific. And most importantly, we want to write our resumes with the reader in mind, right? When we have that biography mindset, that's for us. That makes us feel good. That makes us say, man, everybody on LinkedIn is getting laid off. The headlines are saying the job market is AI that. So in order to make myself feel secure, I'm going to just give them everything I got, right? I'm going to audition with everything. But those who get interviews and get interviews quickly know that they're playing a strategic, targeted, focused game. So hopefully that helps someone.
Yeah. Okay. So strategic, targeted, and focused. Obviously, a coach can help you do those things, but how can I do that for myself, right? What should I be looking for to ensure that I'm again being strategic, targeted, and focused in my resume?
Oh, such good. You've done this before, Claire. So I think the very first thing, and this is so easy, and I'm actually glad you're asking this question in that way, because again, a lot of the advice online can really feel like these $5 words, strategic, targeted, focused. What does that actually mean? And I think at the just first step, ask yourself, what am I looking for? And then just get really clear about that, right? So if you were to say, I am looking for a marketing role, refine that a little bit. So we talk about marketing, that's a large umbrella, right? Are we talking about digital? Are we talking about content? Are we talking about strategy? So forth and so on, right? So get really clear on what it is that you are looking for. A big myth is that a resume can do double and triple duty, right? Or that, hey, I want to cast a wide net. That can be another reason why people treat their resume like that career biography. But instead, if your target in this example is a marketing job, then you want to revise your resume to be focused on those skills, check the job description, that are most important to the type of role that you're seeking, right? That is a very easy, low list. You can do it in bed at night or while you're on the sidelines of soccer practice. That's exactly what I mean. And the other thing to that would be, if you're looking at your resume as a starting point and you're not sure what to cut, this is the exercise. All you have to do is look at the job description, look at a couple, you're targeted in what you're looking for, and ask yourself, look at the bullet and say, are they asking for this? Yes, no. If the answer is no, cut it or revise it to make it relevant. That's your exercise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think job descriptions are the blueprint for your resume. They are telling you exactly what they need to see from you. Oftentimes, they're also doing it in order of importance too, right? Those bullet points, like
Absolutely.
top four, are the top four most important things to them. I want to just
Mm-hmm.
add something here, which is, and I know you agree because I've seen it on your LinkedIn. For the love of God, everybody stop writing your responsibilities and start writing what your impact was because of those responsibilities. By the way, anyone can
Yes.
say they did anything. Like, it sounds generic. You sound generic. And no one is, right? We're
Yeah.
all unique. No one has our thumbprints. Like, everybody is unique. The way to best
Yep.
tell that story when you're applying for a job is through, what impact did this have on the business bottom line? How did this fit into the financial ecosystem? How did this move the needle in some way or another? I get very amped
Yeah.
about this. Do you have any other, anything to add, but B, any other, for the love of God, please pay attention to this moment with a resume?
Yes. Well, first, I'm going to give you an amen and echo your sentiment around including outcomes rather than responsibilities, right? Outcomes are greater than responsibilities. And so, another way to give people more value on how, because I know a lot of advice online is the what. Talk about impact, talk about outcomes, but how, right? So, again, you're reading your resume and you have a bullet on there, ask yourself, so what? And then what happens? Right? There's your answer. So sometimes you can quantify it, sometimes you can't, because I know a lot of times people get maybe discouraged about trying to include outcomes or impact because they're like, I wasn't privy to it, or it's been a generation ago. I don't remember what I did in that role. But just ask yourself that question. So what? Or and then what happened? Or even, why did they have me do that? So for example, if you ask yourself, why did they have me do that? If it was to contribute to a larger project or a larger happening at the company, that's your outcome, right? So I wanted to echo there. The second thing I would add, and I think this is really going to help people, is, for the love of God, move away from resume language, the results oriented, the whatever. What does that mean? I don't know. I have no idea what a results oriented professional
When
is.
people describe themselves at the top and that like jargon. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
conflicting advice because I totally agree. We were all advised to do that. And so then everybody did it, which means we're all sounding like each other and nobody stands out.
exactly.
But there was a reason it was suggested to us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you find that balance? And then can AI be helpful in that at all, in shaping,
Yes, I'm so glad you brought up AI. I'm going to talk on that in just a sec. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Back in our day, at the, at the risk of aging ourselves, whatever. But back in our day, yeah, that was the standard. But resume writing, the job market, all of those things have evolved. And I think with the advancements in particularly social media, right, a lot of us are reading and writing a lot more online, which means that, again, from an attention standpoint, but also just the way that sort of communication has become more casual. It's become more accepted to speak more casually. Whereas, again, early in our careers, you had to be very professional and buttoned up. You had to write in cursive. Whereas now, that's not that's not the standard anymore. And so, with that said, you use that to your advantage by speaking conversationally. I'm not saying, obviously, not like slang or anything like that, but if you were going to say something to the effect of, I'm a results oriented person, I would say to you, what does that mean? But that means that you are someone who focuses really closely on the details without getting lost in them. I would say that. It'll be a breath of fresh air to the reader, but it's also really clear. And so now the reader is saying, it's like a little halo. It's a halo for you because they're saying, that's the person I want on the team. Let me call them and talk to them more about that skill set. So that's another thing to just help ease the burden of trying to write a resume.
Another example off of that would be, instead of result oriented, I care about what happens. I always say inject humanity into your language, and that usually means your heart a little bit. Doesn't mean you have to be super passionate
Yeah.
about what you do, but it's still you. It's still an investment of your life. You only have so many hours in your life. You're going to dedicate it to this next job. That matters. This matters. Talk to me in our final minutes here, just AI. I know that's the hot topic in all things jobs. How does it help
Yep.
you write your resume? How does it hurt you, maybe, in writing your resume?
Yeah. Let's start with AI can be a great tool,
Yeah.
right? Emphasis on the word tool, meaning that it's going to help you. It's not intended for it to create a resume that you go to market with, right? And I think a big part of that is exactly what you said, Claire, which is one, we're all unique, and two, we're human. So even though there's a lot of chatter about the ATS and all that jazz, a human being is going to have your document in their hands or on their screen, and they need to see humanity in that. So that's yet another reason we don't want AI to generate a resume for us. But what I think AI is great for is to expand upon ideas. Maybe you have a thought. Maybe you have a project that you need help summarizing. I think AI is a great tool to save sanity and bandwidth and come out with a good draft that you can then refine. So yeah, if you're going to use AI, use it as a tool and not the heavy lifter.
Like, you are using it as the tool versus like it
Exactly.
doing the work and you're just submitting it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share before I let you go? I think you may maybe make a guest appearance at the meetup that I'll be hosting, where we're going over our resumes, and maybe not, but either way, I know you do free resume reviews, but also talk about maybe
I
how
do.
you get paid too, because that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. In closing, I just want everyone to like take a deep breath and not overthink the resume. Like I get it. It's a marketing tool. Claire and I talked about this before. Treat it again as a sales document and write to the reader. Understand, what is the reader looking for? And then finally, right? Thanks for the alley-oop, Claire. So I am an executive resume writer. I work with folks who are targeting 6 figures or better. If that's you and you want to learn more about services, working together, or even a complimentary resume review, you can visit my website, ashleyandcash.com, or connect with me on LinkedIn.
Yes, and all of the links will be in the description below. Thank you for giving us hope behind the headlines. Always love a good alliteration and a really good resume. By the way, everybody watching, I am going to share my resume with you all if you come to the meetup that I'm hosting at the end of this month. If you're watching this when the video comes out, so it's going to be in April. The link to register is in the comments below, totally free. And we are working on resumes and eventually at future meetups, so much more. All right. Thanks again, Ashley. I appreciate you.
Thank you.